July 2023, the reading is happening now. You've been patient. You are the 10th sign of the zodiac, so you've been patient up to this point. But guess what? They're coming out before July. This was originally going to be like the third week of July, but we're getting these all out before the beginning of the month. We're what, today, the 29th? Aquarius and Pisces, you will be tomorrow. This is for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus Capricorn placements. If you are a Venus Capricorn placement, then this is more for love and relationship with you, which fits into the theme of Capricorn. So if you do have Venus Capricorn, this is going to be one for you. So we're first going to cover just very briefly. I've done this 10 times before, 9 times. Where astrology and tarot fit into my personal metaphysical cosmology and where it may be able to help you. You're in charge. This is your show. You create your own reality, your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings. That's what summons forth what is on the outpictured screen of reality. However, tools like astrology and tarot can really help us get to these layers and places underneath our threshold of consciousness. We're currently on the conscious level. We're paying attention, but some things can trigger those subconscious, unconscious feelings like synchronicities, right? So astrology and tarot help us kind of get below the surface and talk to that part of ourselves where we don't have always an open line of communication. So none of this stuff is supposed to be binding, constrictive, dooming. If I say there's going to be gnarly energy, you may or may not experience that. It is not going to be something that you're destined to play out, and you have to have that because I say it's going to be this type of month. However, the cards will give us some extra specific advice and insight into what's going on. Think clarity. Typically when I do a personal reading, I will tell the person by the end of the reading, you should feel a substantial energetic shift by the end of the reading. These are for an entire month. So let this stuff percolate and simmer in your subconscious and see how it goes. Let's just see how it hits you. This is like an energetic weather report. It doesn't mean that it's definitely going to rain on Tuesday. It just means the chances of rain are there. And so when we're talking about planetary movements, which I'm going to go over first, it's just to give you like an overview of what the month of July is going to be like. We have more than a couple of things going on in Capricorn in the month of July. So the first one is the new moon in Cancer on July 17th. Cancer kind of fucks with you, Capricorn. It's really like feeling based. It's extra sensitive. That new moon is really going to get you all up in your feelings. Cancers and Capricorns don't play super nice together, even though they both start with CA. You would think they'd be nicer together. So if you really start feeling your feels in July 17th, that's probably what's going on. This is going to be a big month, though, for you for relationships in particular. It's important to try to keep a calm and composed demeanor. That is going to serve you very well no matter what happens in this month. That's always good advice, but this month in particular, because there is going to be a lot of movement going on. There's also the moon enters Capricorn on July 21st, so you will feel amplifications related to what the moon in Capricorn will be doing. This is probably going to have to do with career, finances, and long-term goals. So if that's been on your mind, that's a really good day to kind of focus and think about that. What's up, Kayali? How you doing? Thank you for the follow, Juice Style. Welcome, everyone. If this is your first time watching, we do these often. There's also the Patreon. I'm doing great. I'm having a great time. Thanks for asking. How are you? Hello. Good evening. Yes, if you want a reading with cards for you specifically, please send me an email at Noah, Noah, at syncpodcast.com. That's the best way to get in touch with me. I also do Instagram flash readings. You can find me at Noah Lampert. But if you want a personal reading, that's the best way. Just get in touch with me. I have a few slots open at any given time. So if you want a personal one, we can do that. Email is just usually the best way. These readings, just to be clear, are for particular zodiac signs. If you happen to be a Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus, this reading is for you. If you want one specifically, then you're going to want to do that. Yes, personal readings do cost money. If you want free readings, well, they're not totally free, but you have to join the Patreon. I will often do free readings whenever I get on the weekly live stream for that. It's not expensive. It's like $7 a month. But free ones, you can check out these that are posted on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. Otherwise, I gotta make a living. This is what I do. Okay, let's get back to Capricorn. So another key element of what's going to be going on in July for you, Capricorn, is ambition, discipline, and responsibility. There's a heavy focus on that going into the month of July. Think about setting yourself up to the future. Yeah, it's not expensive. So basically, there's going to be an opportunity for you to take on some new challenges and responsibilities in July. So you're no stranger to doing that. One of the cool things about Capricorn is you're willing to face your fears. You're willing to do some of that shadow work. Just remember, this month is about you. If you've been taking care of other people or focusing on other people's emotions, this is for you. This month is for you to set yourself up for this month and going forward. So don't be afraid to prioritize yourself as opposed to, maybe helping out your friends and loved ones. I'm not saying don't do that, but this is really for you. Also, there's a full moon in Capricorn on July 3rd. Full moons have to do with culminations of things, endings of things, kind of all the energy peaking on that day. So you may feel like there's a lot going on, and that's the time to really look at yourself, take accountability, and prioritize your needs. You know what I mean? That's what you're doing. Think about investing in yourself, okay? So if you are Capricorn sun sign, you have Mercury entering your 8th house, ruled by Scorpio, which is the house of transformation, death, karma. So there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up for you if you happen to be a sun sign Capricorn. Just roll with it, deal with it. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's just going to be something that, is present. It's present there, but that's early in the month on July 3rd. You'll have ample time to kind of deal with that throughout the month. One other thing I want to say just about the astrology for Capricorns is, listen, this is like, don't resist the unexpected. Be open to things that come to you that you didn't plan for. Don't resist those. Don't move away from them. That's going to be where a lot of the energy is coming from, unexpected places. So you won't have everything planned out, ready to go. Hopefully this reading gives you some perspective and some insight into what's going on, but just like be open to new experiences. That's really going to be important, especially new experiences that maybe scare you a little bit, right? Don't go headlong into risky situations, but you may want to just look at some stuff that maybe you hadn't considered and be like, that's kind of interesting. Maybe that's not a bad thing. By the way, chat, you can keep it in whatever language you want, as long as you guys can communicate. I mean, it obviously isn't English, but it's what's going on. The people I'm talking to, it's at the Patreon, so that's where these readings will exist. However, for the month of July, they're up free, public for everyone. Otherwise, if you want to sign up, I have patreon.com/synchronicity. I also have a podcast called Synchronicity. You can go check that out. It's all free. Don't worry. I do a lot of free stuff. There just happens to be some things that I do charge money for. This is not one of them. Okay. So with that said, let's get going. Let's rock it out with the cards. This is where they will be right underneath me here. We're holding them up. It's going to be fun. Capricorns, you are mysterious, cool people. You're an earth sign, but you're also the sea goat, right? So you have that water aspect there as well. The Capricorn, for people who don't know, is the sea goat, right? You are actually have a tail. You're like a fish, but the top part of your body is a goat. So you have this kind of amphibious quality to you, which means you actually are quite comfortable, obviously being in material reality, but you have access to the water, the intuition, the emotions. Your power position is when you're working in tandem, when both of those qualities are at their full force. So being in the world, but also being present of the psychic layer that's underneath it. That's going to be like really like your zone of power. Okay. Yes. 2 of Wands. Every reading I feel like has got 10 of Swords, but we like it reversed there. And then 3 of Wands. Okay, if I'm talking about like envisioning things, planning things for the future, allowing things to come to fruition, this is what we're looking at here. So 2 of Wands, quite literally, is having the world in the palm of your hand. You can see he's got the globe there. This is planning out what it is you would like to experience in life. So I just want to be clear about how things happen in our lives. Now, you may be aware of this process, you may not, but what we do is we have a belief about who we are and what is happening in our lives. Oftentimes, we're not really privy to the thoughts that we're thinking. We're not realizing what we're consenting to. But if you feel a certain way about a situation, more often than not, that is what's going to play out. So what we like to do is kind of give ourselves prompts and ways to feel, and then see if we actually have the power to make those things happen. And one of the ways we do that is we get very clear about what our desires would like to be. So in both of these cards, we're starting with the 2 of Wands here, though. The 2 of Wands, you look out. You're in your place of power, right? This person is in their home. They're in the castle. They haven't ventured out yet into the world to make something happen, but they're looking out across the sea, across the world, and saying, hey, what is it that I would like to have happen in my life? Am I looking for a positive relationship that I don't have right now? Am I looking for a career that makes me feel fulfilled and happy and productive? Am I looking for stability, security, abundance? There's going to be some theme or aspect of your life that deeply, down deep, you feel you would like to experience. And that's what the Two of Wands is asking us to do. Look out, gaze out into the world, and really get clear about what your desires are. What would you like to have happen in the world? This is a great month for it. July is just going to be filled with this energy, a lot of planets moving from sign to sign. There are some restrictive energies with Saturn opposing Mars in Virgo, but it's not the end of the world. It's just kind of like a temporary kind of like pump your brakes type energy. It's not like, hey, slow down, turn around. That's not what it's about. And there's a lot of unexpected things that come up. 10 of Swords here, right? We can see the 10 of Swords upright. Not the best card, right? This dude's been stabbed in the back. It's pretty brutal. It's pretty gnarly. While the dawn is coming, the clouds are lifting, it was kind of like betrayal energy. However, when we see it reversed, this is a resurrective period. You've kind of been through the shit already. This isn't going to be a month where things are piling on you and it's like, oh my God, another thing, or chaos, or controversy, or betrayal, or just difficult times. That's already happened. You probably know exactly what I'm talking about, but that's already happened. So what is going to happen is kind of a resurrective, rejuvenating period where you're able to process any trauma that has recently happened to you, get the correct perspective on it, and then move in the right direction, right? So it's kind of grouping, focusing, reflecting somewhat on what has happened, not, denying that this has happened to you, but reflecting on what has happened and then starting kind of a new path, a new way of being. And we can see this on both cards on either side. You get the Two of Wands and the Three of Wands. So the Three of Wands, you can see this person has now moved out of their home. They are out in the world. They are doing their thing, but there's just empty space and empty land in front of them. And what do they want to do? We see the man holding with his right hand. That's your hand of logic. Left hand is the hand of intuition. Right hand is the hand of logic and analysis. So now you're going to take your desire from this first card here. You've already crystallized what it's going to be. And now you are actually seeing it pan out in front of you. So I'm going to mention the imaginal technique here because this is a very good month for you, Capricorn, to actually get involved with this. What you are going to do before you go to sleep, you're going to think of your desire before you do this. So what it is that you want. You want abundance. You want money. You want security. Let's just say that because there is a lot of financial energy for you, Capricorn, this month. If you've been worrying about your finances, if it's been difficult, if it's been kind of a restrictive period, this is the time to kind of switch that around. So let's say you're trying to manifest money and abundance in a way that is easy and fulfilling for you, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes while you're going to sleep. You don't have to make a special time for this. Of course you can. You're going to close your eyes and imagine in your mind's eye a scene with vivid detail, with emotional resonance. So how you would actually feel. But this scene is not going to be you getting money. It's going to be you already having money, you already having that abundance, and really place yourself there. And I want to be clear, as you're building this scene, you're not watching it from a third person viewpoint. You're watching it from your perspective, from your eyes. So just how you experience the world now from this first person perspective, that is how you're going to envision it. So if someone's coming up to you and giving you a hug and saying, I'm so proud of you, you've done so well, this is going to be from within your body. And you're going to really get into the feeling and the physical aspects, all the sensory details that you want to embed into it. That's what you're building into this scene. And that's all you're going to do. You're going to drift off to sleep. You're going to go into that in-between dream space, and you're just going to do that. Do that for a week. Do that for 3 days if a week is too much for you, and start to see how you feel about money in the realm of money. And some people will say, hey, listen, if you're coming from a lack mindset, this is going to be way too difficult to do. It's basically like appropriating something or attempting to appropriate something that is just not real. I just want you to note that. I just want you to be aware that if it feels like something that's not accurate, just note your thoughts. Now, a really healthy tip is if you have an intrusive thought that says, nah, you don't have it. That's not for you. It's not good. It's not right. Just note that, but I want you to send a thought right after that with emotion saying, no, I do have it. I actually have this. I'm more than capable. I know it's coming. And see how long it takes you to actually shift into that mindset. I can promise you, and this is a testable thing, Don't take my word for it. Don't take anyone's word for it. But if you do that, if you commit to a practice of 3 nights in a row, really doing what I just said, for any realm, it could be a relationship, like I said, it could be anything. If you do that, you will notice an internal shift in how you perceive situations. You will also notice your world that you experience day to day starts to take on a different tone. It starts to take on a different color. You start feeling differently. Maybe there's something there that used to really annoy you or bother you or freak you out or scare you. I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm not going to be able to make it. This person doesn't love me. I just can't make money. I can't do this thing. You're going to notice a shift that begins to take you to a place where you feel that this is already a part of you. It's not something that isn't there that you're waiting for to come. You're literally just waiting for this to play out on the screen of reality. And for you, Capricorn, this month, especially for the things that scare you, move towards them and really be open to the possibility of expecting the unexpected. That will happen for you, Capricorn. You can get back to me when it does in July and be like, holy shit, I wasn't sure about that, but, sure enough, this happened and I couldn't believe it. I really had no idea it was going to come. And there it is, right in my life. It's pretty amazing. And again, this is all testable stuff, right? If you want specific techniques, you can go to my podcast. You can check it out. Done, 8-9 years of this. Go check out the episode titled Imaginal Techniques 1, 2, and 3. There's a ton of them in there. Try any of them. The mirror technique is very good because what's happening here is there are different levels of consciousness, right? We are aware of this 3D reality that we're in. We know that this exists, but there's also a higher dimension of consciousness that is our imaginal realm. And when we make changes in that realm of consciousness, in our imagination, it cascades down into this physical plane of existence. So we want to get familiar with working with the imagination, working with these planes of consciousness, and seeing if we can have an impact on this world. You will precede any change with your imagination. If you've ever gone through a substantial energetic shift in your life, it's because you envision that. It may feel like it's coming out of nowhere, but you've done that work. Signs always follow. They do not precede. You make an internal shift, the sign appears. A sign does not appear showing you that it's time to shift. You have to make that commitment by yourself, to yourself. No one else is going to help you with it. But then when you get enough familiarity with it, you'll see that, holy shit, this actually works. So give that a shot. It's a very auspicious month for you, Capricorn, especially in the realm of money, finances, and career. Capricorn rules the 10th house, right? This is the house of career and jobs. This is a wonderful month to set yourself up for the future. So if there's a new project you were thinking about working on, a new business idea, just a new field, maybe even a new side hustle, get it going. You will not be disappointed if this is something that you focus on this month. You will begin to see those results rather rapidly. Okay. So when, I just want to be clear, like July 23rd, Cancer may also be causing some issues and some restrictions related to your feelings. So you may not feel 100%, but as Leo season begins, you should feel some alleviation. There's a little bit of conflict there, but it's not the worst thing in the world. But if you're feeling a little bit off balance or off kilter, it's just due to the planetary movements that are happening there. Again, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to be something that like really screws you up. And that full moon is going to be, it's a good time to focus on the challenges and obstacles in your life and kind of see what led you to those situations and potentially some ways to alleviate them. Okay, next sequence. 2 of Swords. We love it. Reversed. Okay. 9 of Cups. Reversed. And yes, this is very, very, very on point for you, Capricorn. Okay, 2 of Swords, there's a decision that you have been weighing, you've been thinking about it, and you know it's time to make a move, but it's been very difficult. Seeing as we're not in July yet, this is probably something you're still dealing with, okay? There's something that's been weighing on you that you know you have to make a decision on, but you just haven't been able to figure out which is the right way to go, how to go about it, and whether it will work out. You're going to figure that out pretty quickly. I would guess, based on the planetary movements in your sign related to you, that is likely to happen after the full moon in July 3rd. That's where the decision is going to feel like, oh my God, I know I have to do this, but I don't know how. Appropriate a state of clarity. Go back to that imaginal technique and make it a priority that you feel focused and clear and you know what to do. I very much believe you will be able to experience and slip into that track right as that full moon culminates. And you'd probably start really feeling it midway through the month on the 17th as the new moon in Cancer happens. But that's going to be a felt thing with your emotions. It's not going to be a logical thing that you're thinking through, an intellectual thing, a mental thing. It's going to be in your feelings. That is the generator of experience. How you feel dictates how you perceive reality more than anything else, okay? Then we get the Nine of Cups. This is what I was talking about in terms of like keeping your composure. There may be a point midway through the month, second, third of the month, where things just feel a little discontent. You feel kind of unsatisfied. This to me is pinging in the realm of relationships. So if you're going through a rocky patch, or maybe you're looking for a relationship and it's just not happening, all I'm here to remind you is don't get frustrated. Don't buy into the concept that it's not made for you. Don't buy into the concept that this is something that's going to forever be your destiny. It's just never going to work out. You just can't get it right. Be aware, of course, of things that maybe haven't gone the way you wanted them to go, but please be able to see that that is not a perma state. That is not somewhere you're going to be constantly and forever. It's going to be somewhere where something that you actually can just like look at for a little bit, shine the light of awareness on it, and then move past it relatively quickly. Okay. But there is going to be kind of like an unsatisfied feeling in some realm. And again, it's very clear. It could also have to do with money and your finances. Just don't get locked into a lack mentality. It does not serve you. And I know that's easier said than done. I've been there. Everyone's been there. When the shit is raining down, you know, it's just not working out. You've tried all these things. You don't know what to do. You're kind of at your wit's end. All you have to do is be aware that you're feeling those thoughts and then use that technique I mentioned earlier to just send a thought and emotion in the opposite direction. I do have this. Things are going to work out. If you look at your life, most things have worked out. You've done pretty well. If you feel that you haven't done pretty well, just be aware that those feelings are perpetuating that state of mind. Until you can shift that, until you find a way to tangibly shift your mood internally when you're not aligned with what you want to be aligned with, you're going to keep that situation going, right? And just be aware of how you're looking at things. And I just want to be clear, yes, you want to be financially responsible in the month of July. You don't want to be reckless and just like throwing your money around wherever. But also don't be restrictive. If there's something that you want to buy, and maybe it's a little outside of your price range, go ahead and buy that thing. You would be surprised by how just investing in yourself for things that you know would make you feel good is a powerful catalyst to show your subconscious that, yes, your needs are met at every point in space and time. Just know that. They're always met. If you can tap into that feeling, it will serve you for the rest of your life, because no matter what happens, you know that all your needs are being met at every point in space and time. It's a very powerful concept. It's something that if you can align with that, you will notice substantial changes in the realm of abundance for your life. Okay, let's look at here the 10 of Wands. You've been carrying quite the load, Capricorn. Quite the load, probably for the most of this year. It could have even extended past this year. You know, there have been some restrictions. There has been an inordinate amount of responsibility and weight that you've been carrying. The good news is your destination is not too far away. You can see he's almost getting to his place. There's a little bit more to go though, okay? You're not totally there yet. You have to travel just a little bit farther to get to the place where you can relax and put down the sticks. This shouldn't be something that feels like you're going to have to carry this weight forever. But there is an emotional weight or burden that you know is there, and you're over it, and you've been over it. And it's something you just really don't want to deal with anymore. However, you got to go just a little bit farther with it. Try to figure out ways to psychically and emotionally and spiritually alleviate some of that weight. You're not going to drop all of the sticks. You need to get them to where you're going. It's actually very important for your personal growth and transformation. And yeah, we want to put them down now, but you're really fucking close. You're really close to making a very powerful transformation in your life that is not only going to immediately kind of change the circumstances of your life, but internally, most importantly, you're going to make a shift to a more stable and enthusiastic way of approaching your life internally, emotionally. And it's very close. It's not far away. It's not going to be something where you're doing this for another year. We're talking about weeks. We're talking about by the end of July, these sticks should be on the ground at their destination. And you're going to be like, whoa. Good. I'll give you an analogy or a metaphor for this. Like, imagine you've been busting your fucking ass. Imagine you worked on a farm or something. You get up at the crack of dawn. You're fucking doing all the animal stuff. You're doing the garden. You're doing all these things. You're exhausted. It's the end of the day. You go inside, your partner has dinner for you or something. But you're like, fuck this. I can't even do that. You go upstairs. You take off your muddy, caked clothes. You're filthy. You're disgusting. And you draw yourself a nice bath, okay? And all you want to do is get into that bath and just fucking relax. So you take off your clothes. The water's just right. Maybe you light a candle. Maybe there's some bubbles in there if you're that type of person. You get into the bath, and that moment of when you drop down and sink in and go, that's what we're talking about, okay? That's the feeling that I want you to be able to capture in your mind and know that that is accessible at any point in time. And emotionally, if you can imagine what the impact that type of perspective would bring you when you're going through a challenging situation, that is powerful shit. That is the feeling that you are going to have once you drop down these sticks. And like I said, I don't even think it's going to make it to the end of the month. I think you're going to be able to drop this burden relatively quickly throughout the month. And you will notice these shift. It's like actually dropping weight. Imagine you're carrying like very heavy weights and you're just lugging them around. And then you drop one. You go, oh, that feels good. Then you drop the other one. You go, oh, that feels good. You go, oh, I had some leg weights, and those come off. The lightness and levity that you will feel then will allow you to ascend. I often talk about the spiral of ascension. The spiral goes up, but it's also something that's not a straight line up. So as you circle around this spiral of ascension and gain more awareness and gain more perspective, you're going to be dealing with the same types of challenges, obstacles, and issues, but you're going to have a higher perspective as you move up that spiral. So that's why we have these themes in our life that seem to happen over and over and over again. It's you attempting to teach yourself some lesson that is going to give you not only added perspective, but strategies and tools and skills that you can use to navigate whatever it is you're going through at any point in your life. And we do that through emotional stability. I mentioned Capricorn. You have the sea goat, you have the water and the land, you have the logic and the intuition, you have the mental clarity, but you also have the emotional clarity. And Capricorn, if you can manage that stuff, one of the coolest things about Capricorn, right? The devil card is associated with Capricorn in the tarot, is you're not averse to shadow work. A Capricorn who doesn't want to deal with their shadow stuff, doesn't want to deal with their shadow side, you're out of balance. One of the coolest things about Capricorn is how you can deal with shadow work elegantly, gracefully, and really move through things in a positive way. You actually can teach people, if you're so inclined, how to work through shadow themes, because a lot of people just don't even know how to do that. They're like, I don't want to talk about my fucked up shit. I don't want to think about, my dark, deep things that I do that are fucked up, that I'm ashamed of or guilty of. I get that. It's a natural tendency, but Capricorn, you really have an ability to get through that in a very graceful way. And people will probably be amazed that you're able to do that. So just don't forget, you have this cool ability to kind of deal with shadow work in a very nice way. Let's be clear. Let's pull some animal oracles. Scarab beetle spirit. Magic works through you. And this is that month for you, Cap. Like, you got the magic. It's here. You got the wand. You got the Harry Potter, Alakazam, whatever it is. You got this. It is here for you. It's present, and it's going to work through you. So make sure your channels are clear. Take care of yourself health-wise, take care of your emotional body, take care of your spiritual body. Let this stuff flow through you. Allow yourself to be a conduit and a vessel for powerful change and transformation. Just don't get stagnant. Don't stay still and block off and resist energy that is asking to flow through you. It may feel uncomfortable. It may feel like, I don't like this, I don't want this. But if you just sit and allow that to process through you, filter through you, you're going to end up with some really amazing stuff, right? The alchemy that can come through being a clear vessel, that's where like the real magic and miracles and blessings start to happen. And I think you will very much appreciate it if you can allow yourself to get to that point. And I believe you will. There's enough kind of positive juice and energy happening in this month for you in July that I think you're going to see that like, oh boy, it is quite magical, isn't it? Crow spirit, co-create with spirit. So again, there is, whether you want to call it your higher self, whether you want to call it guardian angels, whatever you want to call it, work together with that divine presence. You are quite literally an aspect of the divine. There is a one that we are all part of. You are a fragmented, individual piece of consciousness that experiences this whole thing through your unique perspective. But you can also work on higher levels. You remember I was talking about the different dimensions and how they cascade down? If you get up to unity consciousness and really start working on that level with the divine, it cascades down all through the dimensions until we get to this wonderful place. And you're like, holy shit, where did all this magic come from? How did it get here? Where was it? Why wasn't this here all the time? I forgot. And forgetting is just something we do. It's the reason we don't remember dying, most of us. It's the reason we don't remember entering into the womb and creating a new life for ourselves. But nevertheless, we did it. We did it. There is a functional purpose to that amnesia too, right? Think of it like this. There's an omnipotent being. There's a God. There's whatever. And they're everything. They're omnipotent. They're omnipresent. There's everything. That's what they are. And they get bored. They're like, this is boring. I need something else to do. So they reduce their consciousness into limited incarnations and mortal forms, and they wipe the memory. And they go, you know what? I think I will leave little breadcrumbs to remind myself who I are and go through this magical mystery and just see how I get there through this path. And that is quite literally what your life is. You are following the breadcrumbs that you have placed there as an omnipotent being to remind yourself that you are quite literally an aspect of the divine. Your imagination is God. You can test this theory out. Again, please don't take my word for it. It is not worth taking anyone's word for anything, especially when it comes to this stuff. Just remember, like, those breadcrumbs are there. Those breadcrumbs are already there. You've placed them in a wonderful trail leading right to your destination, right? Behold the jewel in the lotus. Om mani padme hum, right? There's a lot of stuff that you have placed for yourself in your life that if you only have the bravery and the courage to follow it, you're going to uncover some very, very nice stuff. Koala, like, see how much spirit stuff there is? Koala spirit. Spirit has a plan. You're following the plan. You understand? Don't doubt that you are following the plan to the T. You are literally on the right track. That also means when obstacles, threshold guardians pop up into your field of awareness, don't run away from them. Run towards them. Run towards your fears. Now, again, if there's like a raging fire, don't run into the fire. But if there's something you're kind of afraid of and you don't know you should do it, I don't know, do that fucking thing, Capricorn. You can do it. You will enjoy the aspect of actually doing it. That absolutely applies to relationships too, right? Don't be afraid to wear your heart on your sleeve sometimes. It's not necessarily a natural thing for you to do, Cap, but it is just like you will open up a world, a vortex of positivity, love, generosity, kindness, and just harmony if you can really allow yourself to be open, right? That's what we want to do. And please, please, please take care of yourself. You remember what I said earlier? Yes, it's wonderful to take care of other people. We like to make other people feel good. But you know what? You're the priority this month. In July, you are the priority. It's not rude. It's not mean. It's not being an asshole. It's just making sure that you are powerful, you are feeling good, then anyone else you want to help, anyone else you want to help in life, you will be able to do that in a much better way, a much more effective way. So please, please, please take care of yourself. Spirit's got your fucking back, right? The divine is with you on this. It is no doubt in my mind that you got this shit and you got a lot of powerful fucking energy coming back and really helping you out. So just trust that, know that, use the imaginal techniques, and I think you may find, lo and behold, oh, nice. And like, what was I just saying? Be gentle with yourself. Yeah, you understand? Don't be too hard on yourself. Capricorns, we can be hard on ourselves. I'm not a Capricorn, but I'm saying I'm using the royal we. Yeah, you know where the faults are. You know where you fucked up. You know what guilt is. You're not a stranger to that. But at the end of the day, you absolutely need to know, just be cool with yourself, man. Love yourself. A really nice technique, I think this would work for you, Capricorn, this week, is go back to your inner child, right? Go back to the you who was 5 years old. 4 years old, 7 years old, whatever it is. And imagine a time where maybe things weren't that great, if you have that point. Go back as you, in your mind's eye. Again, going before sleep is the most effective time to do this. Go back, find yourself, see yourself. Your old self will acknowledge you. You'll look at each other and just go over and give yourself the biggest, warmest hug you possibly can. And yes, this sounds a little hokey. It sounds a little silly. Give it a shot and see what happens. I once did this on a train and I started crying. And I'm like, oh my God, I am actually the weirdo now who is crying on a train because I just went in my imagination and gave my younger self a hug. And remind yourself that everything is more than okay. You're an amazing person. You're going to get through whatever it is you're doing. Look at me now. I've done so many amazing things in my life. Be grateful and express that gratitude to your younger self for getting through whatever they got through. This is a very powerful alchemical process. When we're talking about these things, I don't want to give you the impression that this is just some like weird new age mumbo jumbo stuff. This is real alchemy. This is real stuff that helps you get in touch with all. You're trying to integrate all of yourselves, right? We move, although this feels like a consistent linear passage through time, your mind is moving through everything all at once. Now, past, present, right? Future, I guess present is now. Past, present, future. All of those things exist at one point in time. We have this ability, and it's whether it's ability or just the way it is, we experience time as in a linear fashion. Go take some psychedelics, you'll see how quickly that breaks down. It is not as linear as we thought it would be. But that means when you're going back in your mind's eye, and you can use this for any situation, it doesn't have to just be your 5-year-old self. It could be revision for any point. Let's say something happened last week that was really embarrassing. You go back and you alter the circumstances of that situation. Maybe you didn't act in the most graceful way. Maybe you didn't do the thing that maybe you thought you should do after. Maybe you're George Costanza and you should have made that joke about the shrimp, but you didn't. And, you didn't say the thing you're supposed to say and you're lamenting it. Just go back in your mind's eye, alter the situation, and then watch how, because you altered that situation, it flows up back to where you are now, and you will feel a release. You will feel some lightness that actually happens because you've altered a situation. Your subconscious doesn't know. It does not experience time in the same way our conscious mind experiences time. It just doesn't. So use that in your favor. Use that to actually change things and see how it impacts you. All I ask, Capricorn, is that you try this stuff. I know there could be some resistance with a lot of these techniques or whatever you want to call them. Just give it a shot, right? I really encourage you because there's so much opportunity this month for you. I don't feel that you're going to be smacked down or you're going to get too discouraged, but there are going to be some points in time where your emotions are really kind of like firing on all cylinders. And you're like, oh shit, like, I don't know if I can actually handle this. It's a lot. It feels like too much. Like, what do I do? But just remember, be gentle with yourself, okay? Love yourself, Cap. You got this. Let's do some threads of fate. Ask your body. We'll explain that. We'll do 3 cards here. the void. And finally, paradox. Now, is that just what we need or what? Right? This is so Capricornian, this 3 sequence. So your body is your gateway, right? Your body tells you when something is amiss. I want to be clear on the process of opportunities that you have to deal with when it comes to life and how you experience various situations. If there's an issue, your first ask and your first attempt is to look at it from a high spiritual level, your highest self. How do you perceive this? If you pass that opportunity, you then now go down to the next level, which is your emotional, or let's actually say the intellectual level. Can you think about it? What can you think about this situation? Can you process and analyze it out that you get some perspective? Let's say you pass that off. Then you go to your emotional body and you say, okay, let me feel myself out of this situation. How do I feel about it? How accessible are my feelings to get some added perspective on this thing that's bothering me or it's not going well? Let's say you pass that off. Then you get to your physical body. And your physical body is just as good as any one of those other kind of paradigms that you're working in. But if you have resisted all of the other opportunities to deal with that issue or challenge or whatever it is, absolutely, your body will do something. You know, you might get sick. You might get a knee injury. You might get whatever, an earache, a toothache, whatever it is. And that's your body saying, hey, you can't ignore this anymore. You got some pain here. You got some issues. You have to deal with this now. So it's not that bad. You can deal with it. Just remember, disease is dis-ease. There is some distortion. There is some issue that's going on that you are being asked to process. You need to do that. And if it gets to the point where your body is showing you that, listen to it. I recommend an excellent kind of resource. Louise Hay has a book about body. I forget what it's called, but it is really good. Look her up, Louise Hay. There are corresponding emotional and spiritual reference points to what physical things would be going on in your body. And that's a really nice way of looking into what some of the higher level things you may be going through could be reflected in your body. So make sure you stay in touch with your body. 6th house stuff. Check also, Capricorn, if you have any planets or placements or aspects in your 6th house. That is the house of health and also your physical body. And it's worth looking to see if you have anything in those planets that or in those houses rather, that may be taking place. Okay, then we got the void and paradox. So the void in itself is a bit of a paradox, but it is the template in which space and everything actually comes from. It's like the canvas, it's the emptiness, it's the space. It can be a little bit scary because we don't have anything there. If you've ever done a lot of ketamine, you've probably come in contact with the void, a K-hole, right? And so this is where the paradoxical nature comes in. It's like, how can there be nothing and that be the template for reality, but yet there's everything on top of it? And one of the cool things about paradoxes is they loosen our mind. They allow us to kind of suspend our disbelief in any one area because we don't have the answers. It's mysterious. We don't have the ability necessarily to get that clarity and understanding, but that's cool because it kind of it's a pattern interruption. It's something that says, hey, it's like if you've ever overloaded yourself with information and just go, and your brain fries out because you're just I can't process that. That's a very potent and powerful phase. That's something where you actually now have the opportunity to start something and to get that beginner's mind where you can really open yourself up. And then you get to the point where I was talking about before, expect the unexpected. That's where all that stuff flows in. You've created a vacuum, right? Where, and this also goes back to the money thing. That's why you spend the money, even if you don't always have it right there, because you need to create a vacuum. That's why giving is such a powerful tool for just abundance alchemy, because you're creating a vacuum for stuff to flow in. You're doing the same thing with your mind when you kind of do this pattern interruption and something just doesn't make sense. It's not adding up. What do I do? You can fight that. You can intellectually try to parse it. You can emotionally try to intuit your way and to try to understand what it means, but also you can just give the fuck up right there. And you can say, you know what? I don't know what's going on. And I don't think I'm going to understand it right now, but I'm interested in seeing how this plays out. I'm curious to see what potentially can happen if I allow this paradox to sit in my mind and just kind of show me what's going on. So we like paradox, we like the void, and we like asking our body what's going on. Like that's just a very important thing. Those three things, it's like so Capricornian. It's like so like the duality of your being. And, you know, I think generally if we're doing the overview of what this month is going to be like for you, there are going to be some periods where you're emotionally really like feeling it all. It's going to be a lot. But overall, there is this ability to work through things gracefully and elegantly, but you got to take care of yourself. Like this month, of all of the signs I've done so far, this is the 10th. We still have Aquarius and Pisces to go, but like you need to take care of yourself the most, by far the most. Like really make yourself the priority for the month of July 2023. That's like the biggest theme that I can tell you. It's more important than anything else. So, you know, that's what happens. What are you saying? Let's fucking go now. Thank you. What's Lion Ambience? I love the name. So yeah, this is just kind of, this is your reading for 2023. If you like this, you can check out my podcast. That's free. You were asking about free before, guys. I do readings on Instagram. For flash readings on Instagram. If you really want like a longer reading or some other type of reading, you can email me at noah@syncpodcast.com, and time permitting, we can set something up. These readings for July 2023 can be found on twitch.tv/syncpod, SYNC. They can be found on youtube.com/Noah Lampert, and they can be found now on kick.com/syncpod. Go sign up on Kick because I just started it out, and it's just a place I'm multi-streaming to. Also, if it's not too much trouble and you're on there, give me a follow on TikTok, because once I get to 1,000 followers, and I don't want to buy the followers, that's hokey, I can do some live streaming and simulcast on there as well. So that would be helping me out. That would be a favor I'm asking. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you like my podcast. And yeah, Very Apes dope. Sean and Cass are my good friends. I'm going to see them soon. So thank you. Good luck, Capricorn. You're going to have a great month.